So we're going to get started tonight. First, Kate and I are going to do a little role play as far as what you might say to a loyal customer. And then Brittany and Ashley are going to do a little bit about how you might be talking to a new distributor or a potential distributor. And then really the last 30 minutes or so, we'll open up for questions from everybody. And also, if you missed any of the questions that you guys in the invite, we will cover those. And if you're talking, you might need to mute your line.
You were breaking up really bad.
I was?
Yeah, but now I hear you fine. So
need to mute.
Do you want to mute everybody, Brittany?
yeah.
Or did you already do that?
Okay, so I've muted everybody except for you, Amy. So Kate will just have to unmute herself.
Okay. Kate, can you unmute yourself? Oh, you already did it. Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great. So just to introduce everybody, this is Kate Douglas. She has been with It Works for about a year now, and she hit her diamond last month. So I'm so excited for you, Kate, and thank you for doing this fun little role play tonight. Hopefully everybody will figure out what they can say better. And by no means what I'm saying exactly is what you need to do, but it is what I typically say. And it usually works.
You're doing something right.
Well, I'm trying. Okay. So Kate, let me ask you this. What question do you find that, you get asked the most? Like, what do people ask you the most?
What the heck is this crazy rap?
Great. Yeah, I know I get that question a lot. So, when I'm talking to someone, I typically say, it's a cloth material that comes with natural botanicals on it. You apply it to your skin anywhere from the neck down. You want to wear it for about 45 minutes and then drink half your body weight in ounces each day for the next 3 days or 72 hours because that's how long the ingredients stay active in your system. And then if I'm messaging someone, I'm also going to say, do you have any other questions? I always try to end when I'm explaining what something is with, do you have any other questions? Because guess what? Their next question that they're going to ask about that wrap is probably, how much is it? So when someone says that, then I'm going to come back with, you can get a box of 4 for $99 retail, or you can get 4 for $59 as a loyal customer. What do you think? Again, I'm going to end that with another question, and it's short and sweet, and I'm not giving them too much information. And one of the reasons that I'm not going to go into what's a loyal customer and all of that at once is because if you give them all of that information, they don't have a reason to write you back. So then when that person says, well, what is a loyal customer? Then I'm going to say a loyal customer is 1 order a month for 3 months, and then you get my discount pricing.
Well, what if I don't like my product after the first month? Can I just cancel?
You can cancel if you like. There's going to be a $50 fee, but you can also order any product of your choice in those 3 months. So if somebody asked me a question like Kate did, I would answer it like that, but I might also give them a for example. So if Kate and I had been talking for a while and I know that we had been talking about the wraps, but she'd asked me about the cleanse or the defining gel, what I might say to her then is, for example, the first month you could order the wraps. Say month 2, you were interested in a different product, you could try the cleanse that we've talked about or the defining gel. I would give her an example of how she could do that. And if we haven't talked about other products, then I might just say, you could have any other product of your choice. We have lots of products in our skincare line, or we also have a lot of products in our supplement line.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. But a question I got recently was, well, it's kind of a lot of money. Couldn't I just use plastic wrap instead?
Isn't it crazy the questions that we get? If someone asked me if they could use plastic wrap instead, what I would say is, what makes our product special and different in terms of a wrap is the natural botanicals that are on that wrap. Wrapping your body in saran wrap is going to cause you to do one thing, and that's sweat. When you apply a wrap, what you're doing is absorbing those natural botanicals, and your body starts to tighten, tone, and firm. You can use the saran wrap to help hold it in place. And I would, answer something like that, because just wrapping yourself in plastic wrap isn't going to do anything.
If the wraps aren't going to be a permanent fix, is it kind of a waste of money?
My answer to that, or is it temporary or things like that? The way I answer that question is your results from a wrap are going to last anywhere from 3 to 6 months, pending diet and exercise. But with a healthy lifestyle, they can be permanent, because that is exactly how it is. And I don't go into a lot of other details. Now, if they come back and, want to ask more questions, then I might say, it works very similar to, Crest white strips or something like that. You're going to see those lasting results. If you use Crest white strips and then you take awesome care of your teeth, or you use a whitening toothpaste, you may not ever need to use those white strips again, or it may be something that, a year down the road, you want to do a little maintenance, something like that. You could use that as an example.
Well, since 4 wraps come in a box, can I just wrap 4 different body parts at once?
No. So when they ask that again, I would say no. You want to use 1 wrap at a time on a targeted area. And the reason for this is because you're going to see the best results when you're only focusing on one area at a time. If you're trying to wrap, your stomach and your arms and your legs, that's too much for your body to flush out and see the best results, something like that. One thing that I do tell people is let them know that if they're trying to get symmetrical results, like for example, your arms or your legs, you can use 2 wraps at once, but you're going to typically need to increase your water intake a little bit.
Sounds good. What does the cleanse taste like?
Different people say different things, but when I describe the cleanse to someone, I let them know that when I tried it, I think that it tastes like an unsweetened lemonade with kind of a spicy kick. And then this part I don't have memorized, but I'm going to look on my phone so I can tell you exactly what I say. When someone asks about the cleanse, I let them know that it's gentle. It's a gentle, white pants approved to help reset and rebalance your body. And it's made up of 2 proprietary blends of blue agave and aloe vera leaf gel that provide you a gentle cleanse without the harsh side effects that many other cleanses on the market have. So short and sweet is what I tell them. I don't always even go into what it tastes like when someone's tell me about the cleanse. Now, if they come back and ask that, that's when I'll give them, what I think the flavor is like. But I do try to make sure that I let them know those 2 main ingredients and that it is gentle for their system. Also, let me just add that regardless of what product they ask about, I use the product brochure as my guideline. Every single product in here has a short 1 sentence, what the product is, what it does. So if somebody says, what does the defining gel do? It enhanced the results or something like that of tightening, toning, and firming. If they ask me what let's say the Esto Rhythm, that's a product I'm not super familiar with because I haven't personally used it, but I want to give them a short 1 sentence answer. So what I'm going to say is it's a safe and effective relief with the world's, it's a naturally based system for menopause symptoms. Again, 1 sentence explains what it is, and then I'm going to follow that up with what other questions do you have? is I want to give them just a little bit about the product and then find out what it is they're wanting to know. I think the biggest mistake that we can make when we're talking to either loyal customers or distributors is giving them too much information, because you're either going to give them so much information that they're like, okay, I know everything, I don't need to ask them anything else, or you're going to give them so much information that they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to go from there. So just enough, and then like I said, end with, does that make sense, or do you have any other questions? And then typically they're either going to say, no, I don't have any other questions, or they're going to ask you something else. And if they tell me no, my next question to them is going to be, are you ready to order the wraps, or are you ready to get started on the cleanse? Something like that, so that I can put it back to them with a question. I think when you can keep that dialogue real short, but asking questions, you keep it going like a conversation.
Good. Let me give you a hard one. So what exactly do you do as a It Works distributor? You post on Facebook. Is Facebook paying you? I got that one yesterday.
I'm going to save some of that for Ashley, but just real quickly, I will say, when someone asks me, what do you do as a distributor? I'm going to let them know that I share products that I'm passionate about, and that the company does pay me to advertise. Facebook doesn't pay me, but part of my job is sharing our products with other people, and that is how I get paid to make money. So keeping it short and sweet. A lot of times if people inquire about what I do with the business, I share a little bit of my personal story and let them know that, what the business has done for me, or why I'm so in love with it, or what products made me fall in love with it, things like that. Let's see. I know we're getting close to our time limit.
That was all the questions I had.
What about, I feel like we get asked this question a lot, Kate, so I'm going to ask you, and you can tell me what you say. If someone just says, I really want to lose weight, what should I get?
I usually start with asking them what their budget is, and then either go into the system or the triple threat, depending on their needs.
I think that's great. I'm with you. I especially since we've come out with a system, honestly, that is my go-to, probably over the triple threat. And if I talk to them about the triple threat and they say, oh, that's too expensive, then I typically go into, the great thing about our products is you can start with just one product at a time, and then we kind of fill out their budget. But I like that you ask about their budget first, so that then you can recommend something that fits into that. So
I find if you start with the system, sometimes it just scares them away. The price is a little bit higher than maybe they were thinking, and they just want to run away.
And what I send people about this system, I will tell you, it is kind of long, but I want to read it to you guys real quick, and then we'll go over to Brittany and let her share about being a distributor. But I have signed a lot of people from the system, and this is what I send. I say the It Works system is wrap, remove, reboot. The system is amazing because each product works synergistically with one another. I personally love it and have used these products together in the past, but I love that it's now a system that you can keep track with daily. You wrap, which gets your body tightening, toning, and firming. Remove, you cut out processed foods 2 to 4 days in a row each month, replacing with better, healthier choices. We have a 2-day cleanse that is a part of this system and made up of 2 proprietary blends of blue agave and aloe vera gel that provides a powerful cleanse without the harsh side effects. Remove. Reboot. Daily, you drink your greens, which are 8 servings of fruits and vegetables, while helping you to detox. Then the ThermoFit, which is a thermogenic, speeds up your metabolism and helps you burn extra calories and reduce your cravings. Altogether, you have an amazing, easy-to-use system. Plus, you get a blender bottle with 2 compartments, which makes it easy to use on the go. It's $245 retail or $147 as a loyal customer. What do you think? So I just give them a quick little bit about each thing, give them that retail price, and then what the low customer price is. Sometimes I wait on the price, again, depending on where we're at in the conversation, but I find when you're explaining the system, if you just give a short little bit about each one of those things, they can get that, overall picture of what it is going to do without, giving them too much about each product. So, thank you, Kate, for asking me a few questions. Brittany, we'll switch over to you and Ashley, and you guys can talk to us a little bit about what you say when you're talking to someone about being a distributor.
Okay, I know before I switch over to Ashley, I know that you probably kind of touched on this, but I know I get this a lot. When people are asking about the wraps, what do you tell somebody whenever they say, well, what exactly does it do? Like after you tell them it's a all natural botanical wrap, blah, 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 and they still come back with like they want to know what it does. How do you answer that?
Honestly, I go back to what I already told them. I mean, I'm typically repeating myself there rather than going into the science of it. I just say that what the wrap does is tighten, tones, and firms your skin through the natural botanicals. And then one of the ways that I guess I get around answering that question, because we're not scientists here, is, I typically then will refer them to the website and show them where they can find the ingredients and the frequently asked questions.
That's what I do. I pretty much re-explain myself what I already said. And then normally I send them the ingredients list and say, these are the ingredients that make the magic work. And I just kind of leave it at that. But I just wanted to put that out there for new distributors, that we are not allowed to go into the science of it because we can't make medical claims. So you kind of have to leave that kind of a general answer, and they kind of have to figure that out on themselves.
And I will say this, I mean, you're nicer than me. You actually send them the ingredients. When they want to know what the ingredients are, I typically direct them. I let them know. I said, if you can go to my website, amylagrange.com, click shop, click body, click wraps, and then scroll down to where it says view ingredients. That's going to open up a document that has all of the ingredients for you and a list of the frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
Take a look and let me know if you have anything else. Because if someone is just going to go back and forth or hound you, how does it work? How does it work? How does it work? They're probably not going to buy from you, or they're going to do the research and then get back to you and make that decision.
Yeah. All right. Ariana, I think she raised her hand. Do you have a question? You can unmute yourself for a second.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I guess what my question is like, what would your exact response be to somebody who's asking, does the wrap, so I wrap, so does that mean I lose weight?
I tell them no. The wrap is not designed to be a weight loss product. It's designed to tighten, tone, and firm your skin. If your main goal is weight loss, we have some other supplements that you may be more interested in. However, some people do lose weight by wrapping because they're increasing their water intake. They're seeing those visible results of the tightening, toning, and firming, and that's motivating to help someone continue to lose weight.
Okay.
Absolutely do not promote the wrap as a weight loss product. It tightens, tones, and firms your skin.
Okay, also my mom, she's been my loyal since I started, and she's been using the wraps. That's her favorite product, and she just wrapped the other day, and she noticed after that certain wrap, she had kind of a little skin irritation. Is that normal, or what did I tell her?
If it's never happened again, I would be a little bit unsure, but sometimes if your skin is red after you've wrapped, that's just your body's reaction, or maybe you have a little bit more that you need to flush out or detox during that wrap. I know you really want to stay away from using the word detox, but if they tell me they have a rash, I'm probably going to tell them that's their body's way of detoxing.
Okay, yeah, because she only notices the second few times, and the only thing that she can think differently, because she was using Saran wrap, then she went to the Fab wrap, and she likes the Fab wrap better. But then these last two times she incorporated a waist training wrap,
No, don't do that.
Don't do the waist belt. Okay.
Nope. The wrap needs to be used with the wrap, Saran wrap, Fab wrap, Ace bandage, something to hold it in place. You don't want to use another product like a waist trainer or something like that while you're wrapping. And if people ask you, can I use a waist trainer while wrapping? My answer to that is always, you can use a waist trainer after you've wrapped, but not during your wrapping process.
Is it maybe like it's like putting it too close on like I know like the wrap is
Dude,
on.
yeah, you can't even breathe with those things on hardly.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, don't do
I
that.
think that, I mean, there's a reason that the company came out with the Fab Wrap over Saran Wrap, and that is because it is a more breathable material.
Got you.
You know, when you're putting that waist trainer on and it's so tight, it is not, you know, that's not as breathable as like an Ace bandage or something like that. And when you're using Saran Wrap, you're not putting it on, you shouldn't be putting it on so tight that you're sweating or, you know, it's wrapped so tight. You are just using it to help hold that wrap in place.
Got you. Okay, cool.
All right. Okay, Brittany, we're going to turn it over to you, and then we can take some more questions at the end.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Actually, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Sorry, I had to snap a selfie real fast. All right. So Ashley is an emerald. She's going for her diamond this month. Really excited for her. She's one of the top distributor enrollers on my team. So I just wanted to ask her a couple of questions. We're going to do kind of like what Amy and Kate did. Just going through, you know, some questions and kind of role playing, and then after we'll open it up. And if you have any questions, Amy's taking a selfie now. If you have any questions after, we'll go ahead and open it up after, and you can ask. So, Ashley, when somebody messages you and they say, "How do you make money?" What do you come back with? Like, what do you say?
I typically say that I just share the products. I use social media and a couple of other forms of, I don't use the word advertisement typically. I just say I wear the clothes, and people ask me about the clothing frequently. I also have the car decal on my car, and that sparks a lot of conversations like in parking lots from people that I would never ever have on my social media. So it's a completely different outlet. But really, I push that I promote on social media. I use my Facebook and my Instagram to share the products and to share what the business does for my life.
Awesome. So I jumped the gun a little bit. Sorry. Whenever somebody sees like one of your business posts and then they message you and they say, "Okay, what is this business I keep seeing you post about?" What is like your first response back to them?
I don't really get that question frequently. Like usually if somebody approaches me about the business, you know, they probably already kind of have it in their mind they want to at some point do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of just telling them, I find myself more telling them like what all the business has to offer more so than what it is, because they kind of see what it is from my posts, and that's from me being consistent and sharing lifestyle posts and you know, just sharing like what I spent my wrap cash on, or just posing with my wrap cash, or, you know, whatever it is. They kind of see what the business is. So it's more telling them what all the business has to offer.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So what if they come back and they say, "I've sold Mary Kay before. I didn't do very good with that. You know, I'm worried that I won't be able to sell anything." What do you come back with? What do you say?
Typically I say, I don't see really any other business working social media the way that we train each other to do. Really, we have a great team that, you know, just gives you a plethora of information that, I mean, we give you every tool there is to be able to succeed. So it's really on you to follow those things that we tell you to do to be successful than it is. So I just kind of tell them like how supportive my team is, and that they're kind of like the backbone to the whole business, and that we just support one another. Like I can't succeed if my downline isn't succeeding. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that they become successful in this business, and they have all the right tools to do so.
Yeah. So what do you say if they say like, well, what sets you apart from somebody else other than like the social media aspect?
Um,
Do you go into like, well, we have a wrap that nobody else has, or what do you?
Honestly, I really just say I believe in the products. I kind of go back. Sorry, I'm like really terrible about on the spot questions.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't have done that to you.
So, what was your question again? I don't know. So I'll take it back to like how I became a loyal. I was like, I was super skeptical. I saw Sam. She was really the first person. I guess I'd seen it on Instagram a couple times before, but I was always one of those people that just kept scrolling. I never stopped and actually like looked at the post. And then Sam added me on Facebook, and I knew Sam, so I thought that was cool. And obviously I saw her posting, and I was like, "There's no way like that thing works." So then she posted a BOGO, and I was just like, "All right, I'm doing it." So I signed up, and I got my BOGO as a loyal customer. So I kind of take it back to that I fell in love with the products, and that's what got me to sign up as a distributor. So that's why I tell them that's kind of just like, that was my drive to begin with. Like I believed in the product, so it was easy for me to want to share it.
Yeah.
And that's what you asked. So
You're fine. Okay, so when somebody asks you, how much do you make? What do you say?
I kind of got this as a tip. I don't really tell them what I'm making like at that moment. I tell them what I'm going for. Like this month I would, we did the vendor event today. So when somebody asked me what I made, I was like, well, I'm going for Diamond this month. That averages $1,900 a month, and going for a $10,000 bonus. And they're like, what? You can do that? And like, how long have you been in? Oh, about 8 or 9 months. Well, how much did you make when you started? And I was like, well, I started kind of slow, but I signed me and my husband up. So we were making 2 paychecks, and, we were averaging like bringing in $350 a month for the first couple months till I really like got a hang of the business. But sometimes I wouldn't go that far into detail, but $350 is like, that could one's world. You know what I mean? That's a car.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of leaders say, and it's the truth, somebody just earning an extra $300 to $500 a month can keep them from going bankrupt, can keep them from losing their house or their car, anything like that. So that's awesome. Next question. Do you have to make certain sales each month?
No. So I would typically tell them like, your first goal is always your first goal is going to start off that we're going to work together to get you 4 loyal customers. That's going to earn you 2 boxes of wraps for $25 each, to turn around and you can make $150 in profit, as well as earning $120 in free product credit. And then each month you and I will set goals together that you think are attainable. We don't want anything to be unrealistic for you or to make you feel overwhelmed. So we'll go at your pace, and I'll just give you the tools to be able to be successful.
Yeah, and I think that's great, and that's an amazing tip, is to say we will work on this together, because it is a team effort. Like you have to work with your distributors whenever they're new to help them find their loyal customers, and to get them where they need to go, because you start off and you don't know what you're doing. So that's great. Okay, so somebody says, okay, so how much is it after I buy my kit? How much is it going to cost me each month?
So, and I typically tell them, I know the kit's $99, but I kind of like to give them that heads up that it comes out to about $114 with tax and shipping, just so they have like a realistic dollar amount in their mind, because that could be the difference between them actually signing up that night and not signing up. So I try to start with it's about $114 after shipping and tax, only in the US. So don't go telling like your international people that. And then I go on to say that comes with your first month free with your website, and then it'll be $20 a month after that. Depending on how that conversation's going, like if they're really receptive to everything that I've been saying up to that point, I might go in to say like, we like to run an 80 volume auto ship, just so that you're using the products. Sometimes if I'm getting a feeling like that they're just like going to barely scrape by to join the business, I might not bring that up right away, because I'm going to help them get those first 4 loyal customers. So for the first 3 months, I'm going to hope that they're going to have that 150 personal bonus volume. So I can try to not freak them out right in the beginning, but it just kind of depends on the conversation I'm having.
Yeah, for sure. So what if somebody says, is it a scam? What do you say?
I say no. I say I promote the products because I used them. So I wouldn't promote something that I didn't personally believe in. And that, I don't know, I've never really been asked that. I mean, I've been asked, like, do the wraps, do they really work? But no one's really asked as a scam. I've been asked if it's a pyramid scheme before. And I don't know if I really understand what a pyramid scheme is, to be honest with you. But I tell them that they're illegal. So no, we're not a pyramid scam. But me being at the top of their team and them being below me, again, if I want to succeed, my team has to succeed. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that they're going to be successful, and that's going to help them promote. And so we're going to work together as a team. So I just kind of like maybe veer away from that whole aspect of that question.
Yeah, I don't know what a pyramid scheme is exactly either, but I say the same thing that you do. I'm like, well, pyramid schemes are illegal and we've been around for 15 years. And I just kind of leave it at that, because I don't know either. Okay, so then, you've really got them talking or whatever, and they say, how do you make money with It Works?
Well, again, I don't sell the products. I don't ever put it to them like, I want you to go out and like push product, because that's not what it is. It's about sharing the products. I use them. I enjoy these products and they improve my lifestyle. So I share that via Facebook and Instagram, but also every time I see my family, they're like, Ashley, you look great. You know what I mean? Like, so that just being a product of the product, I am like I could be a walking advertisement for It Works, just like all of us should be. We're growing our hair out, or our face is clearing up from using the facial line, or you're, losing weight, or whatever it is. You should be able to promote the products just because you've been using them. But again, social media and just word of mouth. I like to share the products because I really like the products. I don't sell. It's about changing the life. It's not about making the money.
Yeah, for sure. So what if somebody asks you, they see that like you went to green carpet or you went to conference or whatever, and they say, okay, I know that you've been to these events. Like, do you have to go to those? Is that a requirement?
Not a requirement. Absolutely necessary. You have to go to events. Like, you're going to hear this. All of you are going to hear this over and over and over again until conference comes around next month or next year. You're going to be like, you've got to get to conference. It is life-changing. Being up there, I may have done something to my wristband and got to sit with my team when I was supposed to sit with my team. But just that whole environment and atmosphere, it changes the game. Like, you come back in a different mindset and you really get the vision for what this company is. Like, these get out of debt bonuses, they want you to get out of debt. They want you to travel the world with your family, and they want all of these things for you. So you have to want them for your team. And that's just, getting to events is going to put that fire in you without a doubt. So I say, no, it may not be required, but it is 100% necessary.
Awesome. So what if somebody says, okay, well, I really, really, really want to join, but I just don't have $99?
You do what you got to do. If you really want this, and this is something that if you need this, it may not even be something that you want, but if your family needs this, you're going to do what it takes. I'm terrible with names. We have very high up people who sold a couch to join this business, and now look where they are. Okay. Black Diamonds, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Joel and Stephanie Dunn.
Yeah.
That's real. You will do what you have to do to do it. And if they're not willing to sell their couch or whatever the case is, I try to get them like, well, if you're interested in sharing the products, why not try to pre-sell 4 wraps? why not give them something that they can go ahead and start posting on their social media to get 4 people interested in trying their 4 wraps, collect that money, order that box, and then hand your wraps out, and you've broke even. So there's 2 different really ways that you can go with that. You can kind of just put it into perspective, like you do what you got to do, or here's an option and you can try this.
Yeah. So what do you say whenever somebody says, well, how do you advertise or find people?
Really just,
And
I'm not.
I'll help you with them when you need them.
I think she knows.
Hang on. Okay, I think you're good now.
What's your question?
So how do you advertise or how do you find people?
Okay. I wouldn't call, I guess what I do is advertise for It Works. They pay me to advertise. Instead of like, posting billboards and stuff like that, we just post on social media and we get paid for it. So, by finding people, I just add mutual friends. I just find people that I could potentially know, and I make relationships with them on social media by being engaged with them and interacting with them by liking and commenting on their posts and messaging them and telling them how much I like their hair color or how cute their dog is, or, whatever the case is. So I build a relationship with people whom I have mutual friends with.
Gotcha. So I get this excuse all the time. My friends and family don't have any money, so they're not going to be able to buy anything from me. What would you say to somebody like that?
If I was being real honest, because I get a prime example is I have somebody who wants to join my team, but they don't have money. And then they go out to Walmart and get $100 Chihuahua from the parking lot. So now everybody in their family has their own dog. Are you kidding me? Like, you could have bought a business and that's your excuse is you don't have money. So I don't believe that excuse. I think if somebody wants to change their life enough that they're going to spend the money to try and do it. People spend $100 on a lot of silly stuff.
Yeah.
And, if they'll believe that, I was gullible. I bought like a fake carpet or fake grass for my dog to pee on when I was in college. Okay. I would believe anything, people so I just think that that's a silly excuse for people. So I would just say if they want to change their life and they want to get healthier, then, we have an awesome product to provide them to do that. So.
Gotcha. That's all the questions that I have for you. You can stop being nervous now. She's like, can I go hide? If anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask me and Ashley, or if you have anything for Amy or Kate as well.
I actually have one that I wanted to ask. Amanda, are you still on?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Me, Amanda?
Tyner, I never pronounced it.
No.
I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I see your face, or I see you.
I'm here.
Okay, so you posted the question in the group that said, I had a customer ask me last week, what makes your products better than other companies? And you answered it, but you weren't sure how great you did. So my question to you is, what product were they talking about? A specific product, or were they talking about the wraps? I wanted to see if I could help you better answer that.
Well, she was interested in hair, skin, and nails, but she had also contacted me about the greens before that. And I could kind of just answered her like, I can't speak for other companies, but I've been using these products and I love them. That's why I decided to sell them. I signed up on the BOGO Wraps deal as a fluke thing just because I wanted to wrap for my wedding. And then it was cheaper for me just to sign up as a distributor and buy 2 boxes of wraps. I said, and now I'm selling them because I believe in the products and I love them. I said, so I don't know as far as being better than other companies, but I can tell you that our products are wonderful and they work.
I think that is actually a great answer because you're speaking from experience. And I think that anybody you're talking to is going to value your personal testimony like that. One thing, Brittany, I might have you answer this because I love it when you describe it, but one of the things about our vitamins is that they're bioavailable. So Brittany, do you want to explain that? Because I think when people are actually talking about the supplements, whether it be the hair, skin, and nails, or it's Vital Core, or even the ThermoFit, whatever it is, I love that this is true about our supplements. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so I heard Dr. Dawn talk about it, and it's just really stuck with me. So what sets us apart from other supplements is our supplements are bioavailable, which means that they break down faster in your body, so that your body can absorb them faster, and it doesn't get flushed out like normal vitamins. Like normal vitamins, only a little over half of the vitamin is actually going to break down and be absorbed into your body before your body is naturally going to flush it out of your system. Where ours are bioavailable, so that means that they break down a lot faster, meaning that more of that supplement is actually being absorbed into your body before your body flushes it out. So that's one good thing, and that always gets them, they're like, wow, that always gets somebody whenever you throw something like that in their face, back at them. So that's always what I say that sets us apart, as far as our supplements and stuff go. Is that what you wanted me to say?
Yes, that's perfect. I just think you always do such a good job of explaining it. And definitely you guys can look up what bioavailable means. But I think, like I said, that really, if someone is asking you a lot of questions about the supplements, I mean, what a perfect answer to give them, because everybody has, not everybody, but there's a lot of different hair, skin, and nail products, out on the market. So aside from the fact that ours has the Extramel and the melon extract and a few other things that the other ones don't have on the market, when you can talk about them being bioavailable, I think that really sets us apart. So I love that. Somebody posted a question about the Thrive. Honestly, maybe Brittany, you can say how you answer this, but I do not compare our products to that, because to me they're different. I mean, with that you're wearing a patch to get your part of it, because I think it's a 3-step system. You take the vitamins before you get up, you've got the shake or whatever they call it, lifestyle mix that you do for breakfast, and then you're wearing the DTF. I mean, to me, you can't compare those products to ours, because you're comparing apples and oranges. They're just not the same thing. I know for me personally, I love our products, so I kind of go back to what other people have said. I speak from my own personal experience as to why I like them and why I choose to use our products instead. And like I said, I just try not to get into a comparison between another company, because no matter what the product is, they're going to do the research and they're going to figure out what they want to do. So focus on what our products do and what they have. And I guess that's kind of how I answer it. Anybody, Brittany, do you have something else you say, or?
No, to be honest with you, I kind of throw it back on them and turn it around on them. I always tell them, well, I'm not really sure what exactly Thrive does. You tell me what it does, and I can tell you what our products do. And then I'll wait and let them tell me kind of what, because you know more about Thrive than I do. I knew it was a patch. That's all I knew, really. So I like to, kind of throw it back on them. That way, anything that they're saying, I can come back and say, okay, well, this is what our product does, in comparison to that.
No, I like that. Answer a question with a question, and then that is going to allow you to better target, what product maybe you're going to suggest to them or something like that. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's
Somebody just asked a question.
What if someone asks, how soon do you see results? Again, depending on what product you're talking about, I'm going to assume you're asking about the wraps, Estella. So if they're asking about the wraps, I let them know that 80% of people see some sort of visible result after their first wrap, and the rest of the people typically just need to wrap again, and that's why 4 wraps come in a box. If they're asking about hair, skin, and nails or weight loss or things like that, again, I just let them know that, results are going to vary based on that person, but within a few weeks, you're typically going to see some sort of visible results.
I think we have another question as well. How much for the armbands, which I'm assuming you're asking about the wraps, which we already said that. And then it says, what is happening to the fat? So we can't, like we said earlier, we can't really get into the scientific part of it, that it actually detoxes your fat cells, blah, 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 blah. I just like to throw it back on them and say, you know, it tightens, tones, and firms. The all-natural botanical lotion on the wrap tightens, tones, and firms. And whenever, I lost my train of thought, hang on. Sorry. I just say
That's
that
kind of what we talked about before, going back to what the ingredients are. And I think it's important that you guys understand the reason we can't go into the science of, like Brittany talked about, that you're detoxing these fat cells and shrinking them, is because if we do that, we are making medical claims that we're not allowed to do. That's the reason that our product has remained in the beauty line. That's a reason we've been able to keep it from being FDA approved. That's a reason we've been able to keep it from them doing like a medical prescription for it. So those are the things that we can't share because we're protecting the company and we're protecting our business. It's not that we're trying to hide this big secret. It's because of the legality of so many things out there. And we want to keep this a product that we have and we have solely that we can promote. So that's why you just really have to be careful and go back to the fact that it tightens, tones, and firms our skin. And, you know, again, make those frequently asked questions and the list of ingredients available to them.
Absolutely. Okay, so Tabitha, you are now unmuted. What is your question?
Well, actually, it was more of a statement. When y'all were talking about the pyramid scheme, y'all both seemed kind of unlikely as to what your knowledge was on it. What I usually tell customers when they say something about it being a pyramid scheme is that it's in a pyramid scheme, you have the top rank cannot be outranked by the lower rank. And in our company, you can be surpassed by anyone that's below you. Because I know personally, Kim Murphy surpassed me whenever I first started it. So I know it can happen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with pyramid schemes. I just know that they're illegal and we're legal, so. Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, in terms of getting new DTs, when you get somebody who says, okay, what's up with these wrap things? How do you know whether to approach that as, okay, the wraps are botanical versus, okay, well, this wrap thing that I do is a business that you can do yourself? Like, how do you know which direction to take that question?
You just need to ask them, are you interested in making money with this product, or are you interested in using the product yourself as a customer?
Okay.
And then go from there, because they're going to tell you one of two things. They're either going to say, oh, I just want to try the product, or they're going to say, I'd like to make some extra money. And then you can gauge your conversation that way.
Okay.
Because I mean, most of the time I can tell, but you're right. Sometimes the way they ask you, it's like, well, shoot, which do you want?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we tend to overthink a lot of questions as well. It's really, really, really important when we're talking to potential loyals or distributors, you know, to just keep it simple. Read black and white. Don't read in between the lines. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, just keep it really simple and just say, you know, are you interested in the products? Are you interested in the business? I think we overthink a lot of questions sometimes, you know, because we're unsure maybe exactly how to answer it.
Okay.
I feel like someone else had their hand raised, but I missed who it was. So if you do, unmute yourself and ask.
I do want to just point out, Amy posted a link to a Google Doc in the event. Definitely go and save that. That is questions and answers, basically like what a product is. And then the second part is, you know, how much a product is. And it kind of explains the loyal customer program. copy and paste that sapsucker. Like, that's what it's there for. That's how short, sweet, simple, to the point, those answers should be. Don't overthink these answers, and don't word vomit on people. Like, don't give them too much information, because then they freak out and because they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a great tip to give a new distributor. Whenever you're talking to people, don't answer questions that are not asked. If they're not asking how many wraps come in a box, then don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, you don't have to go into full detail about a loyal customer program if they're not asking all of that. You don't have to go into the perk points part or all that kind of stuff. I think we tend to we give them too much information, and then it just scares them away. So definitely use that document as a template, as a guideline on what to say, whenever somebody asks you what a product is or how much something is.
Another good resource on that, I watched a YouTube video by Jade Hooper, and she talks very explicitly about what she does when she's talking to potential loyals or potential distributors, and it's like literally 3 steps. And it's really simple to follow, and you get really good results with it.
Yeah. I mean, the document that's in there, that's exactly what I use personally, and I got that from Jesse, so it works. So, yeah. Does anybody else have anything?
The only other thing I'll just add is, if you find yourself talking to someone and you're not sure what to say to that question that they've asked you, don't be afraid to reach out to your enroller or someone else in your upline and, take a screenshot of that conversation and say, here's what they asked me. I'm not sure how to answer it, because I promise you, we've been asked that question before, and we can help you come up with an answer, and we definitely don't mind doing that. So if you're unsure and you've looked at that document or whatever it is, reach out and ask, because after a few times of doing that, you're going to get the hang of what to say, because, like Jade says, or like the documents, that Jesse has posted said, you're essentially saying the same thing over and over again. I mean, the loyal customer program is the same regardless of what product you're doing or what 90-day challenge it is. It's 1 order a month for 3 months and you get my discount. That applies to no matter what product it is. So you can really, take the simple verbiage and apply that to almost anything. I mean, same again for a distributor. When they ask you how you make money or how you get paid, we get paid 3 ways. We get paid with wrap cash, we get paid on commissions, and we get paid on bonuses. That's how you can make money. So you can really just find those simple things to say and go back to that every time. Sure, sometimes you have to tweak it to make it personal for that individual person, but that template is going to stay the same almost always. So if you're unsure or you get a question you don't know how to answer, rather than, spewing so much information on them, that's when, like I said, I recommend you definitely ask your enroller or ask someone else in your upline, because we can help you figure out what you need to say or where to go from there.
Somebody asked a question in the chat group. Let me see. What do you do? What do you do when you send out a lot of messages but nobody's responding, or they see it and don't respond? Like, how do you deal with that mentally? Mentally, just tone it out and keep going. Like, I couldn't tell you how many messages I send out and people read it and totally ignore it. They don't respond at all. And that's okay, because you're planting that seed in their head and they're going to see your post. In the future, they're going to see your post and they're going to come back to you and they will eventually answer you. Don't get discouraged with that. It happens to all of us. Like, if you looked at my inbox and saw how many people either didn't even read the message or read the message and never responded to me, you would be like, oh my God, that is ridiculous. But it's just kind of the name of the game, What do you say, Amy?
No, I think you're exactly right. I was trying to look back about a girl that I signed up today to see how long we had been talking. and how that conversation went and how many messages she didn't respond to. And I think you're exactly right. Typically when that conversation starts, they're going to, message with you a little bit, and then you're going to find that your follow-ups go unanswered for quite a while. And then typically they're going to come to you when they're ready. And I'm going to, keep following up with them and be consistent. And guys, the fact that people see your stuff and don't respond, it is not just you. I'm telling you, every successful person in this business goes through that. If you're if you're finding it a lot and you're not signing customers, then that's when I would, message your enroller, message your upline and say, show them what you're sending. If you're not sending some of those things that we've talked about, maybe we need to look at that and figure out, are you saying too much? Are you word vomiting? Do we need to shorten it? Because that could be an issue, but like I said, everybody is getting where it doesn't respond. What I find when I have a day where I really send a lot of messages, I don't get a response. I mean, honestly, of course I go to bed a little bit frustrated. However, over the next week, I find that, some of those people start to get back to you. And, I'm looking for that one yes, not the 20 no's.
Yes. Another question was, what do you say if someone asks, why are you friending me on Facebook? What do you normally say, Amy?
If I know where I'm friending them from, then I'm just real honest and say like, oh, you liked this post, and so I wanted to reach out to you. Or if we have a mutual friend in common, I might say, oh, I noticed you were friends with so-and-so, and so I friended you, or Facebook suggested you, something like that. If I honestly have no friends with them and I don't know where it came from, I might ignore the message and not say anything, because they're either going to accept or they're not. Or I can say, oh, I just like to make new friends and connect with people on Facebook, something like that.
Yeah, I do the same exact thing. If I know where I friended them from, then I'll answer them. But if I don't, then I just ignore the message and just keep going. Either they're going to friend me or they're not. Either way, oh well, that's just kind of what I do. I definitely don't message them back though and mention anything about the business. So FYI on that one. Let's see. People are always skeptical about giving credit card info. If you offer to do the order, what's the best way to ask for their credit card information? So if you look on that document that's posted in the event, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it has like a list of information. It says, yay, to get you signed up, I just need a little bit of information. And then it asks what information that you need from them or whatever. And normally I call them to get their credit card information if they don't want to send it over Facebook or through text message or whatever. A lot of people they're not as skeptical, to give credit card information over the phone. If they're still skeptical about it, you can always give them your website and walk them through. I personally just don't like doing that if I can get around it, simply because I know if I get the information, I'm going to get them signed up now, and it's actually going to happen. Where if I leave it in their hands, it may not happen. So that's kind of your two options, to get around that.
Yeah, that's perfect. I noticed we have a question about the wow. People say that sometimes they get the white like residue or whatever after they've wowed. If people are getting the white after they're wowing, they're using too much wow. So they can take a damp cloth or a towel and blot away any of the white if that's what they're getting. But if you use wow consistently, you're going to find the right amount that you need to be using on that area, and you won't get the white. I typically put it on under my makeup, so it's not something that you're going to see. But if they're putting it on and maybe not applying a makeup or something over it, and they're seeing the white residue, they've put too much wow on in that area. So, if they're only doing under their eyes and they're using an entire little packet of wow, that's too much wow for that small of an area.
Yes. Amanda, you raised your hand. You can unmute your line.
Okay. So I've had a couple of customers, and I have two right now that they want to order. They've said, yes, I'm going to order. I've tried to do their order for them, and I've offered to call them or text them and get their credit card information, address, email, and they just are not interested at all. They want to do the order themselves on my website. And so at that point, then I'll share my website with them. Then they're like, okay, I'm going to order right now. And then of course they didn't order. And then, so I waited and I checked in with them the next morning, and I'm like, you know, the website can be kind of confusing. If you need help, you know, just call me and we'll do your order. I'll walk you through it. They're like, oh no, it's no problem. I just ran out of time. Well, now it's been like 4 days and they still haven't ordered it. I don't know what to say to them anymore. I'm like, obviously you want to order or you don't want to order, but you're telling me you do, and I don't know what to do. So what should I do at this point? 'Cause, I mean, like I checked in with them and then it was 2 days and I checked in with them again. Do I wait for 2 weeks now?
No, they're still answering you and still talking to you. No. Have you asked them if you can get their information and place their order for them?
Yeah, like I've offered, and I'll say, you know, here's my phone number. Either call me or text me, because I've asked for their phone number and they just kind of don't respond. So I'll send my phone number and tell them, you can text me. Like, I do not want you to send me your credit card information on Facebook. So, you know, you can text me or call me and give it to me, and they'll say, oh no, I would rather order off your website. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine.
Then my next message to them would say something along the lines of, you know, hey, I only have one spot left for my 90-day challenge. Do you want it? Because if not, by 1 o'clock, I'm going to have to give it to somebody else. I heard that at the One Team One Mission this weekend, and she said, and it makes complete sense. Sometimes we don't want things as much until it's taken away from us. So whenever you say, I'm going to give it to somebody else, that might kind of put some urgency on them. So maybe try that response to get, you know, as your next follow-up question. And then, okay, was that all that you had? I'm sorry, Amanda. Are you good? You're good? Okay, I can't hear you. So the next question in the chat, so would you say sign up the majority of your LCs yourself? I stray away, or should I stray away? Yes. I don't send anybody my website unless it's absolutely necessary. I am a business owner. I take all of my customers, loyal customers, you know, whatever, I take all of their information down and sign them up for them unless they just don't, you know, are stubborn and hard-headed and don't want to give it to me. I definitely take all of their information myself. Like I said, I'm a business owner. I'm professional about it, you know, but I definitely take people's information and sign them up because I know if I get their information, I'm going to get them signed up. Whereas if I leave it in their hands, then it may not happen. Does anybody else have any questions? It got really quiet.
Well, our call did start, so we probably want to wrap it up. And then if anybody, you can click on the link. I posted it in our chat group that for the Sunday family night call.
It's also in the Diva group if anybody needs to grab it from there as well. But yes, let's jump on that call.
Bye, guys.
Bye.